What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. So Shyvana, this is the League of Legends champion I'm going to be covering today from Demacia. We found out a little bit about Shyvana in Javin the Fourth's bio when we went through his champion review. I'm sure we're going to find out a little bit more in hers. So we're going to go through her bio, I'm going to review her skins, we're going to go through her login theme and also her story. I can't find anything regarding her spotlight. In fact, I lie. I can find something regarding her spotlight, but it's really old. So I don't think I'll go through that. I might just touch on the abilities on the League of Legends page and also special interactions. I couldn't find any special interactions or any specific cinematics dedicated to her as well. So I'll timestamp the whole thing as I always do. And yeah, let's start first with the bio. Let's go. Right, so Shyvana, the half dragon. Yeah, okay. I think the wings and the fire and all the rest of that stuff, the horns, kind of give it away. But okay, cool. First time actually seeing Shyvana properly there. Nice. So, though they are rare creatures now indeed, there exist a handful of places across Runeterra where the great elemental dragons still nest. Okay. Long after the fall of the Shuriman Empire, in the chambers beneath a lost volcano, the elder beast known as Yava, right, we heard about this guy, didn't we? Guarded her clutch of eggs. Beyond the depredations of rival drakes, dragon eggs were priceless almost beyond a mortal's comprehension. A little bit like Game of Thrones. And so many were daring or foolish enough to try their luck. Yiva feasted upon the charred remains of a score or more would-be thieves over the years before one succeeded in his attempts. This upstart mage fled the mountains with the large egg hugged close to his chest. The jungle at the heels set ablaze by Yiva's fury. Against all odds, he reached the coast and left the dragon to slink back to her lair in defeat. She had lost one egg. She would not lose another. The mage travelled north to Piltover, but before he could find a buyer, the egg began to hatch. Whether it was the act of removing it from the nest or the last moon of autumn giving way to winter, something had changed. It was no infant dragon that emerged, but apparently humanoid baby girl with pale violet skin, and the mage found he could not bear to abandon her. He raised the child as his own, naming her Shyvana, after the dark legend of her brood mother. Right, so this is the origin of Shyvana. Okay. It became clear that Shyvana was no mortal. From an early age, she was able to shift her form into something monstrous, akin to a half-dragon of ancient myth. This made living among the common folk in Valoran difficult, to say the least. No surprises there. One thing was clear, Yiva retained some connection with her lost daughter, and it grew stronger over time. But didn't she fight Yiva? So she fought and killed her own mother. I'm sure that's what happened in the bio for Javin. When her other offspring finally took flight, Yiva left her empty nest and soared far over the ocean to search for Shyvana. Okay. The land was wrecked by fierce broader wars, but armies and villagers alike scattered at the great dragon's approach. Makes sense. Seeking refuge in a ruined farmhouse, Shyvana saw her adopted father engulfed white in flames as Yiva swept low overhead. The young woman dragged him into the nearby forest, but there was nothing more she could do. She buried him in a simple grave beneath a spreading oak and set off alone. So the dragon got revenge. There we go. After many weeks in hiding in the wilds, always on the move, Shyvana picked out the faint scent of blood among the trees. She found a wounded warrior close to death. Right, okay, we know what happens here, and knew this was someone she could save. Without thought for the beast that hunted her, she assumed her half-dragon form and carried the unconscious man far away to an outpost on the borders of Demacia. There in the castle of Wenrol, Shyvana discovered that this warrior was none other than the Prince Javin, the king's only son and heir to the throne. Though the station soldiers regarded her violet skin and strange manners with some suspicion, she was made welcome. Demacians, it seemed, always looked out for one another, and her time in the town was the most peaceful she had ever known. The peace was not to last. Shyvana sensed darkness on the wind. Yiva was coming. The recovering prince, knowing that he had to marshal Wenrol's garrison, brought the terrified locals inside the stronghold in preparation for the coming battle. Even so, Shyvana prepared to make her escape. Jarvan confronted her and she admitted that the creature in pursuit of her was of her own blood, which we didn't find out in his story. She could not allow innocent people to die for that. Jarvan refused to let her go. Shyvana had saved his life, so it was only right that he fight at her side. Now, moved by his offer, she accepted. As Yiva came into view, Demacian archers loosed volleys of arrows to keep her distracted. In retaliation, she bathed the battlements in flame, tearing at the stonework with her powerful talons and sending armoured warriors tumbling from the parapet. It was then that Shyvana leapt forth, transforming in mid-air and bellowing a challenge to her brood mother. In a sight seldom witnessed in Valorian since the Rune Wars, the two dragons clashed, tooth and claw in the skies over Wenrol. And finally, bleeding from a dozen wounds, Shyvana grappled Yiva to the ground and broke the creature's neck upon the flagstones. Wow, so she killed her own mother. For all I know, her mother just wants to be with her. Okay. Anyway, the prince himself honoured Shyvana's bravery, betrayal, and promised that she would always have a place at his side if she would return with him to her father's halls. With Yiva's skull as proof of their triumph, they set out for the great city of Demacia together. Okay. Shyvana had learned that King Jarvan III's realm is somewhat divided, with the people's distrust of mages and magic putting them at odds with the noble ideas upon which it was founded. While she had found a measure of acceptance as one of the prince's most trusted guardians, she is left to wonder whether that would still be the case if her true nature were more widely known. It's an interesting point, and this ties back to the whole Demacian aspect, doesn't it? Of their morals versus actually mages, and the conflicts they have between each other. So obviously Lux and Garen, and also this one here with Jarvan and Shyvana as well. Nice. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move on to her skins. Let's go. So, the half-dragon Shyvana. Roll fighter, difficulty moderate. So, let's go. She's got, okay, good. Got quite a few skins here as well. So this is her base skin. Yeah, it looks really good, doesn't it? It looks really good. I like how they've got elements of the human side of her and also the dragon side as well. It looks cool. And the purple skin really works, actually. Really works with the red as well. So, let's look at the first available different skin. Iron Scale Shyvana. Right, so that's even more human. That's cool. That's cool. It's a little bit different to this one. A little bit different. I like that though. Okay, I like that. Bone Claw. What a name. Bone Claw. Oh, okay. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting something a little bit more grim. She looks, in a weird way, she looks kind of friendly there, if that makes sense. Bone Claw Shyvana. Nice. Okay, so far, these two are a lot more human looking than the original. Dark Flame Shyvana. Oh, okay, Dark Flame. Nice. I'm loving the spikes on the shoulder plates. Ice Drake Shyvana. Oh, come on. That looks tight. That looks so good. Ice Drake. That might be my favourite, but nope. I'm not going to say my favourite just yet, but Championship Shyvana. That's a little bit different. Okay. What I like about that though, I like how her eyes, she's got like the scales around her eyes to kind of show that she's still a dragon inside, if you know what I mean. I like that one as well. Super Galaxy Shyvana. Nice, looks a little bit like Sona there actually as well. Super Galaxy. Cool. And Ruined Shyvana. Obviously repping the Shadow Isles and the Ruined King. Yeah, it's like a helmet she's holding there as well. Yeah. Okay, so if I go back to the beginning, if I had to pick my favourite now, I thought I knew what it was until I saw the last one. It has to be that one. That one is epic. Once again, I like kind of like the scales and the corruption, you could call it, close to her eyes, showing that she's still a dragon inside, and the horns as well. I love just the whole look of the Shadow Isles, the dark, the green. Yeah, it just works. It looks really good. So that's my favourite one. Second place, I would probably say is Ice Drake. Feeling that one. And then in third place would be this one. I like this one, Iron Scale. I like that one as well. So yeah, they're my top 3, with my number 1 being Ruined Shyvana. So let's quickly go through her abilities and then I'll move on to her login theme. Let's go. Right, so her abilities: Fury of the Dragonborn. Can't display this ability in video format. Nice, okay. Shyvana deals bonus damage to dragons and gains armor and magic resistance. Right. As Shyvana and her allies slay more dragons, she gains more bonus armor, right, and magic resistance. So you can imagine if the team has 4 dragons, it's going to scale quite nicely with her. So let's look at her first ability. Q, Twin Bite. Shyvana strikes twice on her next attack. A bit like Master Yi, maybe. Basic attacks reduce the cooldown of Twin Bite by half a second. Dragon form. Twin Bite cleaves all units in front of Shyvana. Let's have a look. I don't really know what's showing there. So she bites there, and then she turns into that and bites there. I don't know. I don't really know what's going on with that one, but okay. Burnout. Shyvana surrounds herself in fire, dealing magic damage per second to nearby enemies and moving fast for 3 seconds. Part of this damage is applied when Shyvana's basic attacks an enemy with burnout active. Okay, the movement speed reduces over the duration of the spell. Basic attacks extend the duration of burnout. Right. Dragon form. Burnout grows in size. Right, okay, I got it now. So based on what form you're in, the actual abilities do different things. So you can see the difference there between if she's in a human form or a dragon form. There's a dragon form, but it's a human dragon. Yeah, okay. I got it. So E, Flame Breath. Kind of self-explanatory. Shyvana unleashes a fireball that deals damage to all enemies it encounters and leaves cinders on the target, marking them for 5 seconds. Shyvana's basic attack on targets deals a percentage of their maximum health as damage on hit. In the dragon form, Flame Breath explodes on impact or at target location, dealing bonus damage and scorching the earth for a short duration. I like that though anyway. I like how she's got 8 abilities, hasn't she? Yeah, okay, that's cool. Let's see if the ultimate's different as well. Dragon's Descent. Shyvana transforms into a dragon and takes flight to a target location. Enemies along her path take damage and are knocked towards her target location. Shyvana's passively gains Fury per second and gains 2 Fury on basic attacks. Right, so she seems to stack a lot on a basic with her abilities. And yeah, she's not got 8 unique. I'm going to call it 6 unique abilities, with obviously passive not changing and Dragon's Descent not changing. Cool. Okay, I like that. And the dragon looks pretty good as well, doesn't it? Yeah, okay, that's cool. Right, so let's move on to her login theme.
Tremble before the power of a dragon.
So, animation illustration. Okay, this is some crazy animation. Okay. Got Shuriman vibes to it. The animation as well. That's crazy. That's cool. So, a few things there. I'm not quite sure if this is the official login theme. Maybe someone can let me know if it is or isn't. But the animation is nice. The animation and the music is nice. So let's start off with the animation. Yeah, that's unique. It's something I've not seen before in comparison to other login themes. And also, I've seen it. Them hips don't lie. Wow. Them hips don't lie. But that aside, the music's good. I like how it shows the fire initially, and you can hear the crackling of the fire, which ties in obviously nicely with who she is and her story, that she's a dragon. And also the music theme, which I mentioned before, sounds a lot like Shurima. It's got Shuriman vibes to it, which makes sense because it mentioned there that some of these dragons kind of are from that region. So it makes sense to have obviously one of the dragon's offspring in the egg, which is her. Her login theme have a similar kind of element to it as well. So that was good. That was pretty good. Maybe someone can confirm if this is official or not. We've got the name of the animation there, and the illustration is obviously from Riot Games as well. So let's finish off with the actual story. Let's go. So, the Winged Beast. The gated watchtower was empty. Shyvana knew its stern grey-bearded guard, Throm, would have cut off his own hand before abandoning his post. She had sensed human blood while patrolling the northern hills of Demacia and followed its trail to this tower. Inside, the smell was all but overpowering, though no bloodstains were visible. As a soldier of Demacia, Shyvana remained in her humanoid form most of the time in order to conceal her true nature, though her dragonic instincts remained sharply intact. She chewed her tongue to distract herself from growing hunger at the scent. Shyvana climbed to the top of the tower where she could better survey the surroundings and fixed her gaze on the thick, tangled trees where leaves rustled near the edge of the clearing. Shyvana leapt from the window of the watchtower and landed on her feet, 5 stories below. She detected a hint of blood in the wind and sprinted west into the forest, dodging branches as she pursued the scent. At the edge of the clearing, a large feline beast with golden fur feasted on Throm's mangled body. Atop the creature's shoulders were black feathered wings, and its forked serpentine tail twitched as if independent of its owner. The smell of fresh blood was intoxicating, but Shyvana forced herself to focus on the hunt. She had joined Demacia to be part of something greater, not to surrender to her animalistic desires. She crept towards the beast and felt dragonfrine warning in her hands as she readied to strike. But before she could attack, the creature turned from its kill. Its face was hairless and wrinkled, like an old man. It smiled at Shyvana through blooded fangs. "All yours," it said. Okay. Shyvana had heard stories of the Velox's ferocity, its appetite for human flesh, and its slick agility, but nothing had prepared her for the creature's eerily human face. Its unblinking eyes held her gaze as it smiled into the bush and disappeared. That's freaky. Shyvana's heart raced as she sprinted to catch and kill the beast. The Velox's fur mingled with the dapping sunlight, camouflaging its torso as it leapt over fallen bramblewoods and raging rivers. It could not disguise the blood on its breath, however, and Shyvana followed the scent. A fallen boulder blocked the path ahead. The Velox's claws scraped the rocks as it leapt and disappeared over it. Shyvana dug her heels in at the top of the crag to halt her momentum. The rock marked the edge of the wide crevasse, plummeting in a steep vertical drop. Across the gap, the forest continued indefinitely, and the Velox was already deep into the thicket. Shyvana sighed. There was only one way to cross the ravine, and she had not wanted to resort to it, which is probably fly. She checked to ensure no one was watching, inhaled as much air as she could fill her lungs, and felt her breath burn within her chest. Even across the width of the ravine, she could smell Throm on the Velox's fangs. She embraced her hunger until it powered the furnace heat beneath her. With an exhilaration of steam flame, Shyvana burst into her enormous dragonic form and roared. The ravine shook as it echoed back her mighty call. She spread her thick, velvety wings and swept across the ravine into the forest ahead. She no longer had to duck between trees. Instead, she barreled through their branches, tearing down anything in her path. She leaned into the wings, and the forest blurred into a whirl of brown and green. Wood bears, silver elks, and other woodland creatures scrambled to evade her path, and Shyvana relished the power she felt at their fear. She bathed in a flaming torrent of fire, burning a thick grove to smouldering ash. She spotted a trace of gold fur ahead and kept on with the Velox's back. Its teeth racked her flanks, but she barely noticed the pain. And she leapt onto the Velox's back. Its teeth ranked her her flanks, but she barely noticed the pain. I know you, the Velox snarled, fighting to break free. They call you the Chained One. The golden beast leapt, slashing talon paws and grazing her throat with its teeth. Shyvana sank her claws into the back and savoured the sensation of tearing flesh. Why do you hunt me? The Velox asked. We are not enemies. You killed a soldier of the Demacian army, Shyvana said. Throw him. The Velox drew blood from her neck, but she exhaled plumes of fire and it spun away to avoid the flames. Was he your friend? No. And yet you attempt to avenge his death. I fear the rumours are true. You are merely a tamed pet. Shyvana growled. At least I am no killer of men, she said. Truly, the Velox smiled through its stained teeth. You have no thirst for human blood. Shyvana circled the Velox. I see the hunger in your eyes, it said, the taste for living meat. You need to hunt as much as I. After all, where's the fun in a meal without a good chase? Now Shyvana smiled, which brings us to my intent, she said. Shyvana dashed forward. In one quick motion, she pinned the Velox's body to the mulched forest floor and gored on its throat. The Velox split scorching venom and clawed at her chest, scraping scales from her skin. Shyvana's eyes burned from his poison and her wound stung, but she held fast. The Velox's once glossy fur was now sticky and matted with blood. Its watery human eyes stared up at Shyvana in horror as its life dripped away. Though her hunger was unrelenting, Shyvana stopped herself before she devoured his flesh. She exhaled, releasing the dragonfly from her chest. Dragonfly from her chest, and shuddered as she transformed back into a human. She was disturbed at how much she had enjoyed the killing. Shaking, she lifted the Velox's body and dragged him back to the crevasse. There he would lie, proof of her inhuman hunger, hidden in the darkness beneath the rock. Right. Okay. That's pretty interesting actually as well, because it shows, I like how it shows, even though she didn't succumb to it, she has these desires as well. She obviously, never mind when she turns into a dragon form, even being in a human form, she has these instinctive desires to kill and hunt. But I like how she has a rule, she has standards, and she has principles as well. Even though this Velox was trying to tempt her, she wasn't having any of it, and she killed it as well. So yeah, that was pretty good. Pretty good to read her story and her bio, also go through her skins and her login theme, and also nice to tie it back to Jarvan as well. Read a little bit about her in Jarvan's champion review, so it's nice to tie them both together and get a bit of a fuller opinion and story on her. So yeah, I think I'll leave it here today, guys, on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed my thoughts and reactions to Shyvana, and if you did, feel free to let me know. Feel free to like, comment, and maybe also subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you guys in the next one.